Nice shot.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
And welcome to Why Even DMR. That intro was mercifully short because all of the footage I have is excruciatingly boring. Before we start talking about it, let's define it. What is a designated marksman's rifle anyway, or a DMR? Originally, it was a rifle to give to someone in the squad, the designated marksman, who is trained in its effective use. Something with a nice optic on it and able to put in some more precise work. World War II, I'm sure World War I had some examples, and conflicts throughout history. But now, I'm trying to focus on a more modern definition and application of designated marksman rifle. So focusing on that, a DMR is a rifle chambered in a full power cartridge versus an intermediate cartridge. When you look at one, essentially it's an accurized battle rifle that can provide reasonable precision and power to get those harder to reach targets. Generally, it's going to be chambered in 7.6251, 7.62 by 54, and with some modern offerings that have proven their reliability, I'll concede 6.5 Creedmoor. A minimum 16-inch length barrel or greater semi-automatic rifle, which will give you the ability to provide repeat accuracy and maintaining a relative mobility versus traditional sniper rifle systems, but obviously not the mobility of an assault rifle like an M4, an M16, or even a battle rifle if it's set up a little less cumbersome. It's going to be outfitted with a scope, a bipod, and hopefully a better trigger. To summarize, in short, putting an accurate rifle behind the capable hands of a skilled marksman to increase squad capability and lethality. And I know my rifle is currently missing some of these items that I discussed.
Where are they?
It's going to get an OKW, a bipod that goes into an M-lock rail, which I changed out, obviously, had to get rid of the dick mod, and that trigger damn sure has a G on it. Now, I know I just went through this long definition, and some might argue, and I'm sure there's no shortage of YouTube channels that are going to say 5.56 rifles or a bolt action can be a DMR. And there's a lot of bastardization of what a term is. People can't just accept what a military designation is for a rifle. They have to say, well, this is my whatever it is. Is your 5.56 or your bolt action a DMR? No, not for military purposes or modern definition. And the beauty of that is you don't have to use DMR if that's going to offend you. You can choose to use the terms or not. It's up to you. Just don't half-ass it. Either you're going to go by the established definitions and criteria or not. That's fine. I don't care. It doesn't really bother me. But you look silly when you pull out a gun and say, this is a DMR, and it's not. It fits into another category. And if one of those high-speed operator types walks out of the cornfield, you know, like the ones you dress up like on the weekends and LARP around your mom's basement, and they come up to you and ask for a DMR, they have an expectation of what they're asking for. The reason the military has pre-established terms is to match equipment to the mission you'll probably won't be doing anyway, which is why so many people will misclassify their rifle as a DMR or something like that. Now that we've cleared the DMR hurdles, what does all that have to do with me? I might hear you say. Honestly, I feel like we need to bring back the American rifleman and riflemen in general. There's a lot of guys that do, myself included, a lot of shooting at close distances for a multitude of reasons. Some people do it to learn how to shoot targets up close and far away. Other people just try to get cool clips for the gram. Designated marksman is a skill anyone can build a rifle for and start getting to work learning and becoming proficient with. It gives you a solid degree of accuracy with the ability to make fast corrections. So you don't have to worry about, I have a single shot rifle or a bolt action rifle or anything like that where, yeah, you can run it fast, but most people will press their shot, follow it through to hit, and then cycle their bolt. Whereas a semi-automatic precision setup, like a designated marksman's rifle, you can send the shot, hold your trigger to the rear, see your hit, reset, send another one. The other benefit is you can sit back and work on accuracy, learning your scope, making your dope cards, and learning to range with your reticle at your pace almost at any single rifle range there is. And that's very nice. I see a multitude of dudes in the comments talking about, I wish my range would let me do what your range does, and I understand the struggle, and there's more stuff I'd like to do at my range, but there's limitations. I don't want to lose the things I have, so I have to play by the rules. And it's identical for everybody else watching this video right now. But what's nice about a DMR is it's usually fired from a supported position, and you're either in the prone position, on a bench, kneeling, with the rifle rested on something. A bipod is part of what a DMR is, as you stare at mine without a bipod on it. And even at the most strict range where they have like stupid times between how fast your shots can be, 5 seconds between each shot, you can still learn and polish your skills with a DMR because you're more worried about how do I engage that target at range and what corrections do I need to make to get that hit. So you follow the shot through pressing the trigger all the way to delivery on target. And once you've confirmed, hey, that was a hit or not a hit, you can make your adjustments. You can either dial or you can hold. Either way, you do you. And a DMR is going to need something like a medium power optic. So your 2.5 to 10, 3 to 15, 4 to 16, I'd even say 3 to 18 is probably about the end of that. I know someone's going to say 4 to 20, whatever. You don't want to use too much glass because you don't want it to get too heavy. So a medium power optic, again, in that range, will probably best serve you. And definitely stick with a quality optic. For optics, I recommend something along the lines of what you see in front of you, the Steiner T5XI, which is the 3 to 15, or a Night Force 4 to 16 attacker, a Leupold Mark V, I think it's a 3 or 3.5 to 18, whatever the Mark V is. Something nice, because you're going to want to be able to see clearly, have very flat image, and really, really solid light transmission. So those are top contenders for me. There's other good stuff out there for sure. Schmidt and Bender makes a really nice 3 to 12. I think they make a 3 to 15 and a 4 to 16 as well. I'm not 100% sure. There's a lot of PM2s, but a lot of good optics to choose from. Yes, they're going to be expensive, but this is an expensive game. As far as rifle platforms, you already know I'm going to recommend the top 3, HK, LMT, or Knights. The LMT MWS or the Knights SR25. And the SR25 is going to be the lightest of all of them. LaRue also makes a good 308, and I've heard nice things in the comments about both the Daniel Defense M5 and the ADM. I haven't used those personally. If any of you in the comments have them, you can tell me how they've worked so far with what ammo and all that other good stuff. Speaking of ammo, I recommend for 308 some sort of federal gold medal match, Hornady with their ELD match, or Black Hills, either tipped or Sierra Match King rounds. So I use federal gold medal match 168s in this because it loves them, and the 175 grain federal gold medal match is really solid, and then the copies of that in Black Hills. Black Hills ammo is stellar, and then this stuff has been pretty good. We're going to talk about this later, but make sure you have a very nice heavy grain weight round for what we're going to talk about here in a second. All right, the pros and the cons. I'm going to run through these pretty quick. It's not going to be like other videos. The range you're able to engage with a full power cartridge. So again, 7.62-51, 7.62 by 54, or your 6.5 Creedmoor is going to be able to effectively engage and deliver solid energy and effect on target past the distances of 5.56. So if someone's got even say a 20-inch, but more often than not, it's going to be a 14.5 or 16-inch. You can keep them at a much greater distance and be effective with a full power cartridge versus the 5.56 or 7.62 39 or 5.45 by 39. You can keep people at a distance without them even entering their max effective range. A full power cartridge equals power. So you're going to be able to drop something in 1 to 2 rounds based on accuracy and placement. If a normal person takes one of these rounds upper center mass, cancel Christmas, especially 168 or 175 Sierra Match King or OTM or whatever rounds there are, tip Match Kings as well. They're very effective rounds. You don't have to be hitting something 4, 5, 6 times to drop it usually, which is nice because you don't have the mobility that those intermediate cartridges give you, that you would have to shoot more. So it's kind of a trade-off, but no one's going to be able to argue that a 5.56 is more effective than a 308. It's just not on any wavelength. PID, so these give you phenomenal PID capability because of the glass that you're putting on top. And it's just a really easy day to see what you got to hit and press a shot out there. It's not so great up close, obviously, so running an offset dot or something like that is not a bad idea, but figuring that piece out might be difficult based on the size of the glass that's on the rifle. But guys have done it and do it, so it's definitely capable. Precision. This is very important. So running really good glass and having a good trigger and a very nice setup gives you both the velocity and the capability to hit things precisely at distance, which is very important, especially if you're trying to push your engagement range out further. You have the combination of your ability to positively identify a threat and engage it safely at an increased distance. Win-win.
I see this as an absolute win.
Another thing that's really nice about DMRs is they give you more mobility and capability than a sniper rifle outside of long range precision. So this is really intermediate distance to just shy of 1,000. So we're talking between 400 to 700 or 800 yards, which is where all these rounds will be effective. And you're not really going to run into too many restraints unless you have extreme wind or you're shooting across a valley or something weird. But it's not outside the realm of possibility that you can competently engage out to those ranges with some basic practice, understanding your dope card and your optic, as well as, you know, practice shooting.
But it's easy to talk about. It's easy to sum it up when you just talk about practice. We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
You can very easily get out to those distances, and most people don't take the time to learn that skill. So once you do, you have a leg up on any competition should that become a problem. And you'll have increased mobility because a lot of guys will tell you you don't want to stay put for too long. You know, you don't want to be belting out a lot of shots unless you have, you know, a crew serve weapon covering you.
Put it down!
or something like that, you got a squad of guys around you to keep you safe. If it's just you, these are better than a sniper system, possibly based on what you're doing, but it gives you the capability to engage competently and also get the fuck out of there. A lot lighter than a bolt action that's got a bipod and it's been accurized and all that other stuff. The last thing in the pros category is ease of accuracy and increased hit rate with something like this versus something with an LPVO on it or in 5.56 or something like that. 308 is really going to cut through the wind. It's going to do what it needs to do. 175 can do a lot of damage. 168s are good, but they can't really do the transonic thing too well. And they'll run out of steam around the 750 yard mark unless you've loaded it really well or you got a tip in there. But I'm not really the guy to talk about ballistics. You should go check out other channels for that because they're way smarter than I am. All right, cons. There's not too many, but they're very glaring. The first one is gonna hurt most people. This is gonna be the biggest con for almost everybody. No cool Instagram videos.
Fuck.
All that cool Instagram shit is not gonna happen with a DMR. You're not gonna be able to do those cool videos. They're gonna get less engagement. No one will care because it's all about going fast with their 10.5 PSA build. Next, it's expensive to get into and expensive to feed. 308, especially quality 308 or 7.6251 or even 6.5 Creedmoor is very expensive to source right now. There's gonna be a lot of hemming and hawing in the comments and all this other stuff. I buy ammo by the case. 308 doesn't even come in normal case lots like 5.56 does. So you're spending a lot of money just to get 200 rounds. And 500 round packs are out there, but you're gonna pay for them. And they're usually people that put them together with 20 round boxes. So just understand that. Very expensive to get into, very expensive to feed. Next, especially with the MR762, these mags are very chunky. You're gonna have trouble finding mag pouches for them. Most Knights Armament, DPMS, or Magpul mags are gonna be fine. It's really gonna be also the SCAR mags. Anything HK related, good luck. But the Army did just pick up the SDMR, so I anticipate more gear on the way for that. And lastly, another hit for the Instagram hose. Recoil is gonna be more than 5.56. There's a lot of guys that shoot deer rifles or bolt actions and they're gonna say, no shit, Sherlock. But there's a lot of guys out there that don't understand that 308 or 7.6251 has a little more punch to it than a 5.56. That's gonna dissuade some people because they're just not about this life. But let me tell you, if you get a bipod, you load it properly, or even throw a muzzle brake on the end of this, rest in peace everybody next to you. But if you put a muzzle brake on this, you're gonna be able to shoot nice and flat and repeatable. However, if you're in a hide or something like that, you're gonna get one shot off before everybody knows where you are. So run a suppressor. Wrapping it up, lots of positives for doing a DMR. And I really think it's something that the average rifleman and shooter should be able to run competently and will probably give people the most buyback for what they're doing. A lot of guys get these rifles and they do them all up and they get sucked into the AR-15 world just like I did. And it's fun and enjoyable and everybody loves it. But if you want nice precision that can translate into hunting, it can translate into all these fantasy scenarios that everybody dives into. And once you get a little older and slower, you can still be a very good marksman without a lot of mobility. I always recommend, staying in shape. We're all works in progress and we can all get better. Let's keep getting better. But if you slow down a little bit, you can still get into a supported position and be precise. It's very important. Rifle skills with confidence in your equipment goes a long way. A lot of people underestimate that, but being able to whip this thing out and hit whatever I want to hit within a designated area is amazing. Seeing a target at 200 that I can hit confidently and also hit those targets at 600, 700, 800 yards without much effort, just as long as I do my part and I know my dope card, then I'm good. That's a big deal. And with all these skills, all you have to add is training, supporting gear, And like I said earlier, physical fitness. And you too could be a designated marksman. So this is my case for the designated marksman rifle builds. I think they're very practical, if not more practical than some other things. You can definitely get a lot of value added with one of these in your safe, and they are a lot of fun at the range. It also justifies my ridiculous expenditure in this purchase. Thanks for watching. Take care out there.